We can fix this mic. Yikes. Okay, testing. All right. Let's see how this works. All right, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to the 16th Annual Nightlife and Entertainment Summit. Still not good. Ooh, okay. You're under the speaker. Okay. You think this is better? Okay. Here we go. Maybe this is better, and if not, maybe we can get a little media services help. I'm not sure. All right, my name is Maggie Weiland, and I'm the director of the Entertainment Commission. Okay.
Check, 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 check. Still kind of bad. I think it's under the speakers, but it's still happening.
Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? This is better. This is better.
Okay. Let's see what we can.
I'm gonna go get. Yeah, I'll go get somebody.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
What's up?
Anybody here know how to use speakers?
I know, right? I think we've come to the right place for AV support. I don't know. Oh, man. I feel like I'm just going to walk around the room. Hello, hello, hello. All right. This is not great, not great. All right, I'm going to try to project. So my name is Maggie Weiland, and I'm the director of the Entertainment Commission. Welcome in the 16th Annual Nightlife and Entertainment Summit. Woo! All right, awesome. It's incredible to see all of your faces here in one place today. It's such an honor to be able to put together this event every year and bring everyone together in one place. This is my 11th annual Nightlife and Entertainment Summit, so I love doing it. It never gets old, and just love seeing you all here. It is our hope that this summit can continue to bring the industry and city together to network, share ideas, and hopefully learn something new. I want to begin today with just a lot of acknowledgments and thank yous. So thank you to everyone who is here today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules and the businesses that you operate to be here. It's a big deal. Thank you to those who are watching online. Hopefully you can hear me at least a little bit. Commissioners, thank you so much. There are 7 of you. You all do incredible work. Thank you for your partnership and participation in today's event and making this happen. A special thanks to former Commissioner Al Perez. He helps put together our graphic design every single year, and he didn't stop this year, even though he moved over to the Arts Commission. So thank you to Al. Thank you to the 12 city departments that we're tabling today for our resource fair. It makes a big difference having all of you here, representing here with our entertainment industry. Thank you to SFGovTV for videotaping and live streaming today's event. Thank you to 49 South Van Ness for hosting us. And the biggest thanks goes to the Entertainment Commission staff. So if you could all stand up if you're in here. Thank you. Caitlin Azevedo, Dylan Rice, May Leong in the back, Andrews Verena, Asa Youngrice, who couldn't be here today, but he's here in spirits, and Alex Adams. We're a deeply committed team to this work, doing this work with the nightlife and entertainment industry, and we'll continue to show up for this community every single day. Here's what you can expect from today's agenda. So we'll have opening speakers, including Mayor Daniel Lurie. We're very excited to have him here with us today. And we'll also be hearing from President Ben Blyman from the Entertainment Commission. We'll hear from State Senator Scott Wiener. We'll hear from OEWD Director Ann Topier, as well as our bearded, beloved nightlife of our champion of nightlife, Ben Van Houten from OEWD. We love have Ben. And then we'll hear from Eileen Loughran from DPH with an update around overdose prevention in nightlife work. And then we'll move into our first break of the day, and following that first break of the day, we'll have our first panel of the day, Raising the Bar Above Compliance. We partnered with the Mayor's Office of Victim Rights on this panel, and the focus is on sexual harassment and assault prevention with real tools for operators. Then we'll move into our second and final break of the day, and following that break, we will hear from State Assembly Member Matt Haney, who will be joining us later. And then we'll have our second panel of the day, which is Here Comes the Future, Trends Shaping SF Nightlife. We will hear from some of our industry's current trendsetters and continue to build momentum and investment in this city that we all love. Finally, we'll end our day with an optional happy hour, but I encourage you to join as this is a great networking opportunity. It will be at Gambit in Hayes Valley. It's free and open to the public. However, it is a cash bar, but we hope you can join us and have some fun with us. That'll happen at 4:30 today. And then before I bring up President Ben Blyman for a moment, I just wanted to say a few words in acknowledgement of our newest entertainment permit holders. So if we could change to the next slide, I wanted to just say congratulations to the class of 2026. And I'll get out of the way. It looks like May is running to change the slide. And on this slide, you will see the names of all of the businesses that received an entertainment permit since July 2025. So this is pretty incredible. As you can see, there are a lot of businesses here. Last fiscal year was actually our highest year ever for brick and mortar permit application activity, even surpassing our pre-COVID peak in 2019. And now this year, we're seeing a 10% increase in brick and mortar permit applications and license renewals on top of that highest year. So that's an incredible trend. And behind all of these numbers are the real people, all of you taking the risks, opening doors, choosing to invest in San Francisco, and that matters. Now, we also know this is a nuanced moment. We're seeing closures of some of our most beloved venues here in San Francisco, places that have helped define this city's nightlife. So this is not a simple story. Ben Van Houten from OEWD will unpack that a little bit more when he provides remarks. But for now, here to share a few words with you is another beloved Ben in our world, Commission President Ben Blyman.
I was told to try this. Let's see. All right. So far, so good. Hey, everyone. I'm Ben Blyman. I'm the president of the Entertainment Commission. I just got a Facebook notification last week showing that I got sworn in exactly 9 years ago last week, which is crazy. I'm going to switch to this.
So sorry.
It's okay. It happens. AV. What I want to talk about really quickly is why I love the Entertainment Commission specifically. So I'm a big believer in the power of government, and I'm a big believer in the power of government to help people, to help the citizens, to help everybody who lives in an area to do good things. And often I think we see every example on the news and in the media of when government doesn't live up to its lofty goals. Working on this commission really has inspired me and shown me how amazing government can be when it's really all working in one direction and doing so efficiently. We have a tiny budget. We have a tiny staff. We have over 800 permits that they manage. And every year we send out surveys which ask our permit holders and the greater community where our trust rating is. And every year we're well over 80% and sometimes into the 90%, which just shows you that the exact people that we regulate actually trust us to mediate between them and all of the factors that affect nightlife in San Francisco. So it just makes me so proud. I just want to have a huge round of applause for the staff, the most competent group of government officials I've ever seen. Thank you for everything. That's it for me. So I want to introduce the Mayor Lurie. We first met about 7 years ago at one of my bars, and before he was mayor, you weren't mayor at the time, and my immediate feeling was that this guy loves nightlife. I remember thinking that. And I think he has shown from the campaign on to when he was mayor that he has put his money where his mouth is and really helped to put nightlife forward on the agenda. And I really appreciate that. So big round of applause for Mayor Lurie. Thank you.
All right. First, Ben, I'm a huge fan of yours. Thank you for leading. Thank you to the other Ben. Where are you, Ben? Ben Houghton, where are you? Ben, thank you very much for your work, and Ann Topier and the entire team. First off, let me just say this. Thank you. Thank you for believing in and investing in San Francisco, running a small business, running a bar, running a small entertainment entity is not easy. We know this. Whether I was on the campaign trail or whether I've been in office, I know how hard it is. And I think you all have been having to go uphill for a very long time. What do you think? We got our own issues here at the city in terms of AV. All right. I better just come out and talk. So, listen, my
Okay, I'm going to try this one more time. Are we in business? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That was incredible. We love having you here and you supporting our industry. I don't know how good this mic is going to be, y'all, so we might need to figure it out on the break. But for now, I would like to bring up another huge supporter of nightlife and entertainment here in San Francisco, State Senator Scott Wiener.
Thank you, Maggie. Okay, we'll try it. Hi, everyone. How are you doing? Good. I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you for keeping our city fun and interesting and culturally unbelievably vibrant. A city is not a city without great nightlife. And that is just, I think, a truth that I think sometimes gets lost. And I was, I'm going to have to take the mayor out sometimes because I do go out. And I am the renaissance of nightlife in this city has just been extraordinary, both the indoor variety and the outdoor variety. And so thank you for what you do. And I know it's not easy, and we need to make it easier and easier. And I think for a long time in San Francisco, probably like in a lot of cities, but definitely here, and this was true when I first arrived at the Board of Supervisors, that nightlife was viewed as a problem to be managed, not as part of the heart and soul and core economy of the city. And so we had rule after layer of rule of obstacle, just all of the ways that you could get caught up in stuff or shut down or get in trouble. And you know, with the creation of the Entertainment Commission, we started the unraveling of that. But then we went beyond that and we did a big economic study to show, not surprisingly, that nightlife contributes hugely to jobs, to tax revenue, and these are often really good paying jobs, kind of working class jobs that we have lost a lot of in San Francisco, and people love nightlife. In the legislature, I got there and I was like, whoa. I mean, the liquor laws in California are a little crazy, as you know way more than I do. And so even though I'm best known for things like housing, I've actually spent quite a bit of time trying to unravel some of those ridiculous restrictions. So we were able to legislate entertainment zones so you can actually sell onto the street if the city allows it. We created the Type 90 liquor license so that live music venues don't have to pretend to be a restaurant anymore. And we have worked, it's now a 25-year fight to say, you know what, cities should be able to decide their own closing time instead of having a one-size-fits-all. And Mark Leno started the fight. I took the baton. I got it all the way to Jerry Brown's desk. He vetoed it. I love the guy, but he's a grumpy pants. And now Matt Haney is taking the baton. So one of these days we'll get it done. And it really just matters. And just the energy in the city right now is extraordinary. And you can feel it, and you are a part of that. And so thank you for what you do. And as the mayor says, nightlife does not exist in a vacuum. Your workers need places to live. We've been working very, very hard to make it easier and faster to build more homes because we need to move away from the era where like housing is viewed as a burden or a bad thing for a neighborhood. Housing is what helps a neighborhood or a city thrive. And so we have worked very, very hard to try to reform our broken housing laws. And then we got to make sure that we continue to have viable public transportation. And I will just say, and I'm not being a drama queen when I say this, if nothing happens, BART will be gone. It will likely cease to exist. Muni will probably be half of what it is today. And Caltrain will unravel. AC Transit too. And I'm not being dramatic. And so I'm really grateful to the mayor. We have really partnered on a couple of ballot measures you're going to see in November, and we have opportunity to actually stabilize these systems, and they're getting better and better. I'm a 29-year Muni rider daily. It's better than it's ever been since I've lived here, and we see that with the public ratings of Muni. It's higher than it's ever been, and we need to keep it going. and just make sure that nightlife, transit, housing, these are like the pillars of a healthy city. So thank you for what you do, and you will always have an ally in me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Scott. Okay, we're going to bring up our next speaker. This is actually a dear old friend of mine. This is Director Ann Topier from the Office of Economic and Workforce Development.
Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me here today. I'm really excited to be here. I want to first start by just thanking Maggie and the entire Entertainment Commission team. I know what a big lift it is to pull something like this off, so I really want to thank everyone. I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your day to be here. And I really just wanted to start off by saying I moved to San Francisco over 30 years ago, and that always takes my breath away a little bit when I say it, to work in the arts industry. And so I've always had this deep appreciation for what entertainment and culture mean to a city, but now running OEWD, I also have a really great appreciation for the economic impact that arts and entertainment have on a city. So you guys bring billions of dollars into have billions of dollars in impact on the economy every single year. You have you employ over 53,000 people. I'm going to leave the facts to Ben on my team. And so it is critical, and there is no economic recovery, there is no economic sustainability without arts and entertainment and culture. So that is just the reality of what you bring to the city every single day. I want to also just talk about the fact that we are trying to lean in the Office of Economic and Workforce Development on coming to the table with other resources to help lift up this industry. Last year we announced, working with arts and entertainment organizations, we announced SFLive, which is our online marketing tool to really lift up events across the city every single day. We've now hosted 2 very successful SF Music Weeks. It's a great event. I hope you guys are participating when you have the opportunity to do so. And we're now working on other pieces of legislation and other resources to turn cannabis shops into cannabis cafes. So it's all things that really lift up the community and the neighborhoods. I also want to thank Mayor Lurie and Senator Wiener and Assemblymember Haney, because it's extraordinary to have this kind of political leadership taking such a strong interest in arts and entertainment every single day. So their leadership on this is such a critical part of all of our success and all of your success. And so what I will ask is, going forward, we want to hear from you. My office wants to hear from you. We want to know what are we doing well? What do we need more work what else do we need to work on? Where can we, what are the new ideas that maybe you have that you experience in another city, in another jurisdiction, something that's working somewhere else? Please come to us with that information. Come talk to us. We really need your support if we're going to continue to make entertainment and nightlife a critical part of our ongoing economic recovery. So I just wanted to end with that. Thank you so much for letting me spend a couple minutes talking to you. Looking forward to hearing more about the rest of the day as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Anne. And now it is my distinct honor to bring up our beloved, bearded champion of nightlife, Benjamin Van Houten.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, everybody. Hello. I'm going to periodically look down here because I spent a lot of time getting these data points right. Hi, everybody. Ben Van Houten. It is always a pleasure to have this opportunity to speak with you all, to hear from you all, and to celebrate the importance of nightlife and entertainment in San Francisco with all of you. Thank you to Maggie, the Entertainment Commission, the whole team. Thank you to Anne. Thank you to Mayor Lurie and Senator Wiener and Assemblymember Haney. This remains a challenging time for nightlife and entertainment in San Francisco. Certainly, there have been some very notable, jarring announcements of upcoming venue closures. Right, the bottom of the hill, the Parkside. We know the names of these spaces. These are important spaces in San Francisco. At the same time, we're also seeing new venues open and venues come back or adapt. I'm thinking of places like there's a work underway to revive Deluxe, the Mabuhay Gardens, the Castro Theater. I know I'm forgetting from the notes. Where am I? The Phoenix Hotel. Nightlife is always evolving and adapting. I think that's one of the reasons I like this industry, is because all of you challenge all of us in government to have to react to and navigate your new ideas, new creativity. And I think, broadly speaking, we're at another time of transition and adaptation. We are seeing really positive signs of continued recovery now I'm going to refer to the notes. Between March 2025 and March 2026, San Francisco and San Mateo counties saw a 4.1% increase in leisure and hospitality jobs, outpacing most other industries over the same period. In most of the neighborhoods across San Francisco, we saw year-over-year growth in sales tax revenue between 2024 and 2025. There are positive signs of continued momentum of recovery. At the same time, when we talk about recovery, I don't think that any of us are really talking about trying to go back to 2019, because this industry, I don't need to tell any of you, this industry was hard enough in 2019 that I know for many folks, it felt like we were approaching a breaking point, that there were challenges operationally, challenges from a regulatory perspective. So instead of trying to recover toward that, I think we need to imagine, what does a resilient future for San Francisco nightlife look like? And while the pandemic had a devastating impact on this industry, I think one of the silver linings was the continued coalition building, information sharing, uplifting of the importance of this industry. I'm going to parrot the NEVA folks who talk about how the Shuttered Venues Operating Grant was the single largest federal arts grant in history. And not just the federal level, the state delivered money. The city delivered $3 million in venue relief faster than the federal government or the state government, for that matter. So how do we continue all that momentum? How do we sustain all that momentum and imagine a more resilient future? I don't think anybody would suggest that there is one strategy, one magic strategy that's going to fix everything, right? But I am proud of, I did a little bit of look back at what we've done over the last 12 months, roughly since last year's summit. So at last year's summit, the mayor announced removing building department inspections, referrals for entertainment permitting as part of a range of Permit SF small business reforms. Supervisor Dorsey led zoning reforms to expand opportunities for entertainment in SOMA, removing decades-old buffers around residential zoning. Legislation's been passed by a number of members of the board to designate at least 12 new entertainment zones in just the last 12 months. We supported the successful adoption of state legislation to create new restaurant liquor license opportunities in the downtown hospitality zone. The Permit SF team implemented new staffing, downtown site templates, and other resources to make it easier to activate outdoor spaces. As Ann said, we launched sflive.art, a website and a campaign to get people to go to all of your venues. And part of what's unique about that project is we had small rock clubs and the symphony, we had the dance community. It's a unification and an amplification across arts and entertainment that recognizes nightlife as part of the arts and culture ecosystem. Produced a second sold-out SF Music Week, uniting industry stakeholders to collaborate on strategies to better support local music. And we worked with the National Independent Venue Association and the San Francisco Venue Coalition to release new economic impact data. That's the data that the mayor was referring to earlier. I'll drop another data point from that study, which is available online. Almost $152 million of off-site tourism spending is generated by San Francisco's independent venues. That is a major, major impact. Oh, and currently pending, the mayor sponsored a piece of legislation to eliminate ISCOT committee hearings as a requirement for about 80 to 90% of outdoor events. And as Ann mentioned, Supervisor Mandelman is leading legislation to create cannabis cafes to enable cannabis retailers to offer food and non-alcoholic beverage service and to create pathways for cannabis entrepreneurship so people can launch new cannabis cafes. That's a lot. That's a lot of stuff in 12 months. But I think my point in summarizing all of that is not like a victory lap of, okay, we did it. It's there is a lot of energy and enthusiasm and willingness to embrace ideas to support this industry right now. And that is really exciting. And that makes this a really significant moment. And so I'm hoping as we all move forward here, we can utilize that moment and continue to bring new ideas to the table. So for example, some ideas that I've heard from some of you. The state government released a creative economy strategy. They're thinking about ways at the state level to support the creative economy. You all are part of the creative economy. So how can we leverage that work to support entertainment businesses, to support the entertainment workforce as a part of our creative economy at the state level? How do we continue to build off of the success of SF Music Week to further cement that this is a music city? You know, I think there are a lot of ways that we can do that. And I know that venue advocates are continuing to think, what are the ways that we can imagine sustainable funding to support our small independent venues? That's something that's come up in Music Week. I know venue advocates are continuing to think about all that. Anyway, we are open. We want to hear all of your ideas. This is a great day to kick off those conversations, to spark new ideas, and our doors are always open. So with that, thank you for your time, and it's a pleasure to see all of you and talk with all of you, and I look forward to it.
Isn't he the best? We love him. We love Ben. Okay, if we could go to the next slide. I would love to announce to all of you that we are launching a new resource as of today to support our local venues, bars, and restaurants. And it's called the Health and Safety Toolkit for Nightlife Businesses. And I can see you're already all getting your phones out. You're checking out the QR code. I don't even need to tell you. But the QR code is on the screen, and that's how you can access the resources on our Entertainment Commission website. Essentially, this is putting practical guidance for operators all in one place. The focus areas are security plan training, overdose prevention, crowd management, emergency preparedness, sexual harassment and assault prevention. And these resources are open to all businesses, not just our permitted venues. In tandem with the online toolkit, we have created a welcome bag for all of our new entertainment permit holders for brick and mortar spaces. And that includes naloxone, a first aid kit, safety resources, and just a big thanks to the San Francisco Department of Public Health and the Department of Emergency Management for helping provide items for the bag. We brought 75 of these bags for brick and mortar permit holders today, so if you are a business owner and you have not received a bag, you can come out on the break and grab one. We still have some supplies, and again, these will be issued to all new permit holders moving forward. And without further ado, I would like to bring up a colleague of ours, Eileen Lochran from the Department of Public Health. She is our Community Affairs Manager at DPH, and she's going to provide an update on the overdose prevention and nightlife campaign. So join me in welcoming Eileen.
Thank you. Thank you, Maggie. And hi, everyone. I'm going to go with the flow like everyone else has with our technical difficulties. So again, Eileen Lochran, and I have had the privilege to collaborate with the Entertainment Commission for the last several years. Next slide, please. So as fentanyl started showing up in the drug supply, it was really impacting some of our nightlife spaces. And this is something that had been happening nationally. And so with our partners from the Entertainment Commission, we were able to proactively go out into the nightlife spaces and provide education and trainings. Really impacted has been the LGBTQ and the African American community. And by partnering with the Entertainment Commission, we've been able to use the expertise of the health department in messaging with the familiarity of the nightlife spaces. So it created an opportunity. This initiative launched in 2023, where we really had an opportunity to collaborate and think about how can we bring education and resources into these spaces. The goal has always been to ultimately raise awareness, but to also save lives. Next slide, please. One of the things that's been really important and a focus for the health department is making naloxone, or known as Narcan on the streets, and trainings on how to identify and respond to an overdose easily accessible. The messaging is always that naloxone is safe, it's simple to use, and there's legal protections, there's no liability in administering it. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Oh, there you go. So we've been very successful in our few years of collaborating. We've done several big outreach and engagement opportunities at large venues. So we've done 10 of these large trainings in working with drag queens, and specifically at the Oasis, the El Rio, Bo, the Stud, and others. We've distributed over 500 doses of naloxone at these large-scale events, and we've done over 2,000 trainings at these events. We've also done more smaller, just more focused outreach and training opportunities. So specifically, we have worked with 18 venues that we've done overdose trainings and provided resources. At those specific trainings, we've trained about 250 individuals. And additionally, at the online training module that features Katrina Rude, there have been over 100,000 views. We've had a lot of media interest on our collaboration. There's been over 17 media stories, and this means like not only in print, but also a lot of interviews on different stations and showing up at our collaboration to just highlight it in the media. We've also received recognition from the Biden White House, and that was for this unique opportunity, this unique collaboration with the Entertainment Commission. Next slide, please. One of the things at the Nightlife events is we get to share resources. We get to share the link of how people can access the module that features Katrina Rude. We get to provide resources on how to identify and respond to an overdose, how to access naloxone and fentanyl test strips, and also connections to information about treatment. Next slide, please. These are some of the pictures of some of the events that we collaborated at. You can see that they are very well attended. And also on the side here is our information for additional resources. If you're interested in in-person trainings for your venue, please email overdoseprevention@sfdph.org. These other areas are opportunities for resources about treatment and overdose prevention. I want to just also really thank all of you for your time, but I also want to thank the Entertainment Commission for this really great, unique opportunity that nationally other health departments are trying to think through how can they partner with their local entertainment venues to reach the community. So thank you so much. Next slide, please. That's it.
Okay, before Eileen leaves us, Eileen, if you could come back up here for one moment, and Dylan, please join us. We wanted to congratulate Eileen as she is getting ready to retire. So on behalf of the Office of the City Administrator and the Entertainment Commission, we wanted to present the Certificate of Honor to you for your groundbreaking work in overdose prevention with our office. Thank you so much for your 28 years of service. All right, thank you so much to Eileen. And now, if we can go to the next slide before our break, well, actually, sure, but next slide, we're moving into our compliance video, baby. So if you look at our resources online for the Health and Safety Toolkit, staff put together this compliance video for not only new permit holders, but also old permit holders. And this is live today on our YouTube. We'll be putting it up on our social media. And without further ado, we will play this for you now at our premiere here at the Entertainment Commission Summit. So here we go. Hopefully it works out. Fingers crossed. Hello and welcome. If you operate a business or event in San Francisco and have an entertainment permit, this quick guide is for you. We'll walk you through key responsibilities and tips to stay compliant and create positive experiences for your guests and community. Let's begin by going over the types of entertainment that require permits. These include DJ performances, live performances, including live bands, karaoke, and stand-up comedy. To ensure indoor compliance, please be familiar with San Francisco's Good Neighbor Policy conditions, such as displaying your permit in a conspicuous location, ensuring all staff are familiar with your permit conditions, keeping all doors and windows closed, along with any sound abatement you may have in place while hosting entertainment, and then using sound treatment such as acoustic paneling and curtains can work wonders in containing sound and improving the listening experience. Permit holders are required to admit Entertainment Commission inspectors and allow them to perform duties such as taking sound measurements, photos, and videos. You must post proper signage, such as signs suggesting to keep outdoor noise to a minimum, not to loiter after hours or smoke. These signs help remind patrons to act responsibly while enjoying San Francisco's nightlife. Safety and security. As a reminder, you must report any violent incident that occurs at the premises within 24 hours to the Entertainment Commission. You can access an incident report form link from your Good Neighbor policy. All security guards must be lead trained and carry guard cards. Security must also maintain exits and entrances within 100 feet of the premises. This includes managing patrons while entering and exiting the business, along with keeping the surrounding areas clear of hazards and debris. Sound monitoring. Make sure all sound technicians and relevant staff are familiar with your approved decibel limit. Always monitor from the location specified on your permit with a decibel meter or the recommended decibel meter app for smartphones. For outdoor activations, the items previously discussed also apply. Many brick and mortar permits held by businesses, including restaurants and cafes, may allow outdoor sound, such as pre-recorded music and live entertainment, both on patios and parklets. Outdoor sound can be regulated using a decibel limit. If so, be sure to monitor the specific location on your permit. Some permits are conditioned for sound not to exceed ambient at a specified distance. If that's you, you are compliant when sound produced is obstructed by ambient noise such as normal street traffic. Thank you so much to our permit holders for everything that you do to make San Francisco's nightlife and entertainment industry so vibrant. For more details, please visit our website at www.sf.gov/entertainment commission. We are always here to support you. Woo! All right. So as you can tell, that was definitely a team effort. You may have recognized the voice in the video, but I would like to give the biggest round of applause thank you to our inspection team. So Andrews Verena, project managed this. Thank you so much. We love it. And Inspector Alex Adams actually scored the original music in the background of that video, so we are all fans of entertainment. And as you saw, Inspector Young Rice was the star of that video. So that is it. We're now going to move into a break. You have until 1:55 p.m. before we come back here, so about 7 minutes. The restrooms are out and to the left. We might still have coffee left and some pastries, so please enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you at 1:55 for our first panel. from the Mayor's Office of Victim Rights. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over.
Thank you. All right, can y'all hear me? Maybe? Yes? Okay, great. Good afternoon, everybody. I know that there's going to be some feedback out there, but as we get the conversation going, I just want to say thank you to everybody that is sitting here to have this important conversation around bringing us into not just compliance, but going above and beyond. My name is Lila Carrillo. I am the director of SHARP. SHARP is Sexual Harassment, Assault Response, and Prevention, which is under the Mayor's Office for Victims' Rights. And SHARP serves essentially as an ombuds office for survivors of sexual assault, sexual violence, as they navigate the system within the city and the city's response. We help troubleshoot complaints. We help survivors navigate systems. We identify trends and gaps in services so that we can propose legislation and fixes, and as well as doing this, which is working with stakeholders on prevention methods. With that, I want to welcome also my fellow panelists, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
My name is Joseph Pred. I'm an emergency manager. I founded Burning Man's Emergency Services Department and was responsible for handling all the work with sexual assault and domestic violence issues that happened out there, amongst many other responsibilities. I was also on the Entertainment Commission on the Public Health seat for 6 years as part of the inaugural commission. And I currently manage mutual aid response services, which provide services to venues throughout California.
Good afternoon. My name is Lieutenant David Goff. I currently oversee several units in the department. One is the citywide plainclothes. I oversee 10B, or Police Law Enforcement Services. I oversee the permits unit as well as the alcohol liaison unit, which is specific today. The alcohol liaison unit monitors and regulates alcohol-related events citywide, and we are working with several different city agencies, including Entertainment Commission is one of them. On a state level, we work with Alcoholic Beverage Control, and we have partnerships to maintain regulations throughout the state and city.
Well, thank you both for being here and lending your expertise to today's conversation. So going into the topics themselves, which is prevention of sexual assault, sexual violence in nightlife, which requires all of us in this room. It requires all of us in our agencies. So really to shift both the conversation and the culture. As you heard Mayor Lurie say, right, like this industry is a major economic driver. And what we know as well from research and surveys is that when people don't feel safe, when women don't feel safe, they don't participate. They will refrain from participating in nightlife. So it's really important, and it's an imperative, right, that we address the issue. And really to also understand and really highlight the fact that operators, venue staff, they have a superpower, which is the power of understanding and being observant and really honing into their already expertise of understanding behavior in nightlife spaces. And so that's what we want to tap into and unlock today and enhance and give you some takeaways of how we can, again, have these conversations curve and shift this culture and really address the issue at hand so that we can make San Francisco a model of what a safe, really enjoyable nightlife looks like for everyone and make sure that this industry continues to thrive. So with that said, I just want to go into really quickly some definitions. I know that most of us know or generally understand sexual assault, sexual harassment, and drink spiking. But to go into something very succinctly, just as a reminder, so sexual assault is any intentional contact, sexual in nature, without consent. Sexual harassment is any unwanted, inappropriate sexual advances, including suggestive gestures, language, touching, or physical behaviors such as blocking someone from leaving or dancing up on someone, for example, when it comes to nightlife. And drink spiking is adding any substance into another person's drink without their consent. So often of times what is thought about as drink spiking is the very typical thing that we think about, which is like getting roofied, you slip a pill or something. But actually the number one substance is alcohol. So it's really taking into consideration some of the changing landscape, right? Like right now, one of the conversations is that there's more mocktails out there. There's a lot of non-alcoholic beverages that are like mimicking the flavor of whiskey, the flavor of gin, the flavor of tequila. So they're pretty, consistent with the flavor profile, and that's part of its appeal, so that you can be able to have a mocktail. So something to watch out for when it comes to drink spiking is the fact that it might not be what we have typically thought about as roofing somebody. It can be something as simple as like another shot of alcohol or real alcohol in somebody else's non-alcoholic drink. Also, high use right now trend is ketamine, being able to introduce ketamine into somebody's water, somebody's alcoholic beverage, or somebody's mocktail. So those are the things to keep in mind as we have these conversations and, understand how, again, there's already a superpower in the room when it comes to venue staff on how to watch out for, how to engage, and how to intervene. With that, I want to, ask Joseph, in your perspective, how can operators build trust among staff with patrons so that they feel safe with reporting in the first place? Because often of times what we see is that sexual violence in general, including drink spiking, is severely underreported. And I think that's part of it is a lack of understanding of how that can be done or where to go or what can happen. So if you can address.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things is to see this as a culture shift in your organization. That means not just, having it be a talking point at a meeting saying, now we believe in this. It has to be an ongoing cultural leadership change from managers, from supervisors, people working. And what that does is through continued commitment to addressing these issues and showing your staff that you care about this and that you're looking to make meaningful change in your venue, their behavior with the patrons will change. And so it's a water run downhill kind of thing. When they feel that you will have their back in supporting them for, refusing service to somebody or 86ing somebody who might be, not causing the kind of overt issue that normally warrants that, but could be just unpleasant behavior or lower grade behavior to sort of maintain the overall vibe of your venue, they will take more action, and that will affect your customer's experience, because when they see that you address unpleasant behavior before it rises to the point of requiring law enforcement or requiring a confrontation, they will have a better experience at your venue. And better experiences at your venue translates into they stay longer, they spend more money, and they're more likely to return.
Thank you. Lieutenant Goff, a question that I have for you is, in your position, what do you think are the common misconceptions that staff at venues might have that prevents them from reporting or engaging with law enforcement?
I think the biggest one is that if the police are called and they show up, that someone's going to get in trouble or potentially lose their license, right? I think that's what people think. It goes all the way to that level. And that's not necessarily true, because there's an investigation that needs to happen. Sometimes it ends up being nothing, right? Oftentimes it ends up being nothing. But that's another misconception, is that it's not serious enough to call the police, right? So we think something is very minor, but we all know things can escalate very, very quickly in a bar, a loud venue, or a place like that. But I think that the best thing is to, if something's wrong, something doesn't feel right, or your staff members see that something's not right and they bring that to your attention, there's no issue with calling the police. Yes, does it change the vibe when the cops show up and walk through and try to find out what's going on? Absolutely. People are looking, everybody's looking and wondering what's going on. But I think that the more heads up you can be on that and trying to identify issues, if there are issues at all, earlier, it could prevent anything like that. And a lot of these issues can be handled in-house with staff and bartenders, employees that are there, if they're trained and they know and they're aware of what to do. And that's all part of the collaboration with, the alcohol liaison unit and the police department. I think the more knowledge that the restaurant bar staff have, club staff has, I think the more effective they can be. And obviously, if it levels to, or if it rises to the level of the police being involved, we'll be there and we'll do what we need to do. So.
To build on that, something I think is really important is this notion that Lieutenant Goff really mentioned as being really critical, which is that a lot of people, managers, supervisors, your core staff, think that the venue will suffer or get a bad reputation for calling the cops or addressing this issue in a formal way. And the reality is that this, if anything, with all the, reports coming out from all levels of society, it doesn't matter if you run a dive bar or a country club. You have this problem in your venue. Every single venue has this problem. So by reporting or taking action, you are in fact showing good leadership, not showing yourself to be a venue that isn't well managed.
Right, and one of the also the work that I'm doing through Sharp as an agency, especially in this industry and this conversation, is having a city agency like Sharp, like the Mayor's Office for Victims' Right, really uplift the work that venues and spaces do to support this culture shift, to support survivors, to do the right thing, and uplifting them and recognizing them for that work. So thank you for mentioning that part as well, of it as well, because again, right, as I mentioned, it takes all of us. It's an entire community. And so knowing that not doing anything is the only wrong thing you can do. So going into a little bit into the regulatory and compliance issues, as we're talking about going above compliance, right? Recent California laws that have become effective in 2024, 2025 have increased safety measures in lifetime settings. The efforts have been there to increase them, and that has to do with signage, with test strips, with drink lids. And so there's a concerted effort, given that it's been reported that nearly 9 out of 10 California women report experiencing some form of sexual harassment or assault within the nightlife environment. Lieutenant Goff, can you speak to some key obligations nightlife operators need to be aware of as of today?
Yeah, I think one big thing is, like I said, intervening earlier rather than later. And that doesn't necessarily mean calling the police, but you see something going on, you're a bartender. I was talking to Leela earlier. Bartenders are some of the most observant people I've seen. They watch who needs a drink. They know when somebody's had too much to drink, and they just see about everything. Not only that, they're social. They can talk to just about anybody, right? So if you're able to, get ahead of a situation and prevent it from unraveling, I think that's the best thing you can do. You also don't need certainty that something's going on to call us, right? You could just simply have a reasonable concern that something's going on before you take matters into your own hands, or you let your partners know that, hey, keep an eye on that person over there. He or she may have had too much to drink, or maybe they're intoxicated beyond what they have had to drink, and maybe that's something else we need to look at. The other thing is, if you are going to call the police, I think it's important to give as much detail as possible in a timely manner, right? Descriptions, what you're seeing, where you're at, all those little things matter. I'm sure the venue you're going to be calling from is going to be louder. It's going to be a dispatch on the other end trying to prompt questions out of you. But the more information you can provide dispatch in the event the police are called, I think that's the best way to handle that and get ahead of it. But the big thing is not hesitating when you think something's not right. I think that's the big thing. And that, again, that doesn't necessarily mean the police need to be involved, but that's something you guys can do in your establishment and take it upon yourselves to go ahead and handle and get ahead of.
Thank you. And Joseph, in your expertise and what you've been engaged in, what have you seen are common compliance gaps that you might be able to identify or you've identified across venues or spaces, and how can operators address those?
Well, I think the tendency is, again, with this bias of I don't want to call this negative attention or what they perceive to be negative attention to their venue by doing something formal about bad behavior, is sort of just letting it go and sort of, you know, oh, we'll just 86 them and that's all we need to do. Well, even if you permanently 86 them, you've just exported the problem to somebody else's venue. So if you have the opportunity to engage and work with them in a sort of community-minded approach, that when you're approaching them from a venue perspective of, is there some way you can work with them to educate them to behave better rather than behave in a creepy manner? Because a lot of the behavior that makes people uncomfortable doesn't rise to the level of sexual assault. But it's that behavior that's allowed to take place in the venue that then creates a permissive environment potentially for worse things to happen. So thinking about it from a inclusive way whenever you reasonably can. Obviously when people are acting very poorly and very aggressively, there's really only one way to go. But if we see this as a community problem rather than just a venue problem, we'll actually help everybody out with all the venues, not just your own.
Thank you. Yeah, and something that I'm not sure how many of you might have stopped by the Mayor's Office for Victims' Rights table, but I am excited that today, actually, we are launching under SHARP the SHARP Night Out certification campaign. And so it's a program that I've been working on alongside partners, including some local nonprofit advocacy partners, to provide free training to those who wish to participate in the program and become certified, and also make it easier to come into compliance, again, when it comes to some of these state laws that have passed to address this issue, everything from again, the signage that is supposed to be up for those who have a Type 48 license, to understanding the drink lid regulation, test strips, but again, more importantly, the training that will help your venue understand, you know, some of these red flags, as I'm sure a lot of them already know how to identify, how to spot, but also how to intervene. You know, the different methodologies, the different ways in which there's like soft intervention that is not confrontational, and understand also, again, the cultural component of what we've become accustomed, and I think especially as a woman, I will speak, especially women, we know and we've kind of become a little bit accustomed to some of these behaviors that are sexual harassment, that are sexual assault, and we kind of just take them as like, oh, it's just gonna happen, right? But not really knowing if we can trust a venue staff to intervene. And often of times, as Joseph mentioned, when that early intervention, especially from someone with that authority, which is the staff venue, doesn't kind of step in and just check up on somebody, the behavior can escalate. And so it can start in the venue, it can end in the venue, or it can be, you know, transported somewhere else. So check out our website, check out Sharp Night Out, and, you know, some of the components that are there. We're happy to provide that free training and free materials. So shifting a little bit to incident response. I want to ask both Lieutenant Goff and Joseph, from your respective roles, what do you think operators most often misunderstand about handling sexual harassment or sexual assault or even drink spiking in a nightlife space or setting? Start with you, Lieutenant.
So I think a lot of operators think that, they worry about liability, right? Just like we talked about calling the police in the first place. And I think the real liability is not doing anything, right? If you recognize something, you see something in your space, it's something you got to address, right? The easy way to do it is just turn a blind eye, but that's not the answer. The answer is to hit head on. And we were speaking earlier about it. It doesn't always need to be an overwhelming response. It could be something very mild, right? Send somebody over to go intervene very casually, if it merits that. Obviously, if it's escalated beyond that, we have to do things to match that. But I think, many operators don't realize that there's actually a situation going on, and then, the victim oftentimes may not be with their partner, with their friend, with their boyfriend or girlfriend, and that might be where the issue lies. And sometimes the victim doesn't themselves see that, something wrong is going on. So it's just being aware, being heads up, and intervening at the right time. I think that's the way to deal with that appropriately.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I see with venues is that that management sort of says, this is a security problem, right? And that everybody else that's working with you, bar backs, bartenders, janitorial staff, everybody actually is working as eyes and ears. And everybody has this opportunity to do these, they're very, very low-key interventions that are not confrontational, and you're not security, you're not speaking with any kind of authority. But what you're doing is you're triggering something called the Hawthorne effect, which is that when people know that their behavior is being observed, they change their behavior. So that could be as simple as that bar back who's carrying ice to one of the satellite bars, sees some behavior that looks kind of maybe unwelcome, and as they walk by, all they have to do is say, hey, how's it going? How's your night going? Right? So the person who's maybe misbehaving knows that they've been clocked, right? But there's no confrontation, no special skills required. You're not threatening them. You're not confronting them. A simple interaction of outreach allows anybody in your staff to act as a force multiplier for your security. And also what that shows subtly to people around is that when the people around know that something is happening, they've maybe if they're only on some kind of vibe level, right? So when they see staff step in a low-key way and then the behavior changes, they're going to make note of that. Again, that contributes to the overall sense of feeling safe in your venue.
Yeah.
Just to follow up on that, I think, criminals or predators or whatever we're going to refer to them as, they don't go after the most vigilant, heads-up people. They go after the people that are too intoxicated. They go after the people that look a little timid, shy, stuff like that. And that's when putting those people on notice, like Joseph was mentioning, you really get a long reach with that, right? You let that person or those people know, whatever group of people, you let them know that they've been seen, right? And when they've been seen, it's too late, right? And then they're going to move on to the next, right? Hopefully they're going to leave, and that's what we talked about, the bar down the street, right? But now if we have multiple bars down the street that have staff that are heads up like that, that's how we really minimize those type of issues.
Right. And something also I think to keep in mind when it comes to, clocking this behavior and just having that level of interaction with folks is that, again, another perhaps misconception is that this kind of behavior will happen at the hands of a stranger. When often at times what we've seen is that, like with a lot of sexual violence, these incidents also may be in a group of friends or someone that you meet at the space and you're having a good conversation and you're having good engagement, what looks like good engagement, and everything's fine until it's not. And, body language changes, behaviors change, and just being able to, again, understand how to respond to, because I think that, as we've been saying, I think that recognizing and trusting, the venue staff trusting their intuition, which is strong, is already there. So it's just about knowing how they can interact or engage to interrupt this behavior and to interrupt something that could happen or might be happening. So just a little bit more into incident response, especially rather than intervention, if something escalates to needing a response. Lieutenant Goff, what information or documentation is most helpful during an investigation for venues to keep in mind?
So I think in this day and age, we all have surveillance footage, right? Surveillance cameras are present. Just making sure that your surveillance cameras are time-stamped accordingly, and that they're functioning and they're in the right places, right? I think having cameras is one thing, having them in the right place is another thing. Whether it's a little incident, a theft, or a major incident, they could be very beneficial, right? And we rely on that very heavily these days. The other thing is witness statements and cooperation from staff, right? Obviously, talking to the police in these kind of settings isn't maybe the most favorable thing or something that people want to do, right? You might have a job to do at the same time, but depending on the severity of the issue at hand, I think it's important that you put, the other people's issues ahead, and you're able to give the information that is needed to the police, because all the little details matter when these types of crimes happen. Another thing that can be beneficial to the police are receipts, right? Most things are digital, right? We might not get those things right away, but cooperation, following up a day, 2 days later, that might be helpful. And then obviously the drink itself, if it is a situation where a drink is spiked, preserving that drink, right? That's actual evidence, separate from the human being that's affected, but that actual drink is evidence, and it's important that we're able to preserve that so we can get that tested at some point. And then obviously just documentation. Any incident reports are crucial, right? Drink spiking is probably one of a more underreported crime, but we are all aware it's happening. So I think any speculation that is happening, a documented incident report is a big deal, and it's good to have those so we can track those stats.
Right. Yeah. Data is important. Data is what gets us resources and attention. And right now, again, right, as I mentioned earlier, what we know is that these type of incidents, these type of crimes go underreported. They go underreported within like legitimate avenues, meaning like police or city agencies. But, those of us who have been either in forums or, those kind of, like, the conversation is happening, and there is a lot that demonstrates that, one, it's happening pervasively, and two, that there is a desire for this to be curbed and for it to be addressed and really talked about and uplifted. So we want to close out with some takeaways, some key takeaways. I think just to reiterate, right, what we heard earlier, but also, again, kind of talking about, even as like Mayor Lurie uplifted, safety is good business. People feel safe, people participate. People feel safe, people come out and enjoy. So safety isn't just ethical, it directly affects demand. And one of the things that I was looking at as I've been doing some research, even for like the program that I've developed, is how much across the world in other countries, what's been demonstrated is that when there are city initiatives and programs that recognize not just the trained venues, but through that training and through provision of these materials and kind of, again, shifting the culture to pay attention and to really recognize the need for women to feel safe, it has been directly linked to more participation and women saying that, yes, I will participate, yes, I will engage, and yes, I will stay, as Joseph said, right? Like, we'll stay longer, we'll stay out later, and it's an economic driver as well. So some key takeaways. I would like to ask Lieutenant Goff, how can venues support SFPD's efforts and engage with SFPD to ensure that venues are compliant, but also are creating strong partnerships with city agencies, and that some of this perhaps concern about liability is dismissed? Or
I think the big thing is to build a relationship with the alcohol liaison and the San Francisco Police Department earlier, sooner than later, so we can get ahead of it, have people trained, know what to do, when to do it, prior to the big one happening, if you will. I think that's the big thing. I think another thing is just training your staff, right? Running through a scenario. What do we do? And this happens before hundreds of people are in the venue and it's nice and calm and you can talk about it and have a little briefing on what we're going to do that night and what to do if this were to happen. I think also as a owner or the manager, being vocal about your commitment to safety and being able to kind of lead. Your staff will follow your lead. You know, I think the other thing is just reporting incidents when it's necessary. I'm not thinking, I don't know if this one merits it, but if you think it does, it probably does. Just in some kind of closing thoughts for that, I think deterrence is the big thing. We talked about that several times. Having your staff knowing when to intervene and knowing when to get involved is a big deal, right? Deterrence stops a lot of issues. And then the other thing is people who are affected, they're victims at the end of the day. So we as staff, police, we deal with this as police too. We call it re-victimizing the victim, right? We don't want to treat the victims, or we don't want to re-victimize the game. They're already going through a tough enough issue. So we have to be, you know, I don't know what the word is. We have to be, mindful to what they're going through and whatever issue they're dealing with, right? I think that's the big thing.
Thank you. And part of the training that and the materials that we want to provide through Sharp Night Out is also providing, you know, somewhat of like cheat sheet orientation on what kind of language to use often of times, or what approach to use when addressing someone who was just victimized, and understanding the levels of victimization, right? And to do it in again in like a fast-paced situation. It can be done. We've seen it done well. So we just want to make sure that we can replicate that. Joseph, what is one thing that you can provide that every operator in this room can easily implement to be above compliance and start creating that safer, more inviting nightlife culture?
I think that destigmatizing reporting and making a concerted cultural shift in your organization is a slow process, and it sometimes doesn't feel like you're getting good results. But ongoing training, ongoing talking points around it, taking a whole community trauma-informed approach, understanding that when there's a situation that is happening and maybe law enforcement has gotten involved, that you don't have just one victim. You may have other bystanders that are traumatized. Your own staff may be traumatized by it because they may have been victims of some kind of assault. And you have to understand that there's a cascading effect every time there's an incident, and being aware of that and taking good care of your staff and ensuring that the bystanders are also treated with a level of consideration is something that will make a big impact for how your own staff and also your patrons will feel about the experiences they have when something does go wrong. And it offsets a little bit of what the negative impact sometimes has when a bunch of cops shows up and that people are worried about it ruining the vibe. But if you consider the impact on everybody around you, and then that will have a big impact. And one of the ways you can do that is with ongoing trainings. And the key takeaway for that is there's so many online programs out there that are free online, besides what Sharp is putting together, which is an amazing program, that in those quiet hours, in the before doors, having people go through new trainings. There's all sorts of things on everything from microaggressions to how to de-escalate situations, encouraging people to add skills. And again, this is the barbacks, the coat check person. It's not just security. And if you take that whole community approach to it, you're going to have a more prepared staff and better results in terms of how incidents get handled.
Thank you. So we are going to go into Q&A. I want to say thank you again to both of you for being here and sharing your expertise. We are all here to help and support, not just in this panel and today, but beyond. So if you're interested in learning more about Sharp Night Out, please Scan the code.
Yeah, definitely scan the code. Everyone take a photo or scan it right now, please. So this gentleman back here, I'm going to walk back here. And so we only have about 7 minutes for Q&A before we have to move on to the next program. But
hi, my name is Chris Rojas. I actually have been in the San Francisco scene here for quite a while. I do actually own a club in Miami. Now, here's a couple things. What I noticed that is a little bit different is the technology. And one of it is that when people check in, there's actually a technology that can scan their IDs to see if they're good or bad. And it's actually mandated in Miami. And we're in San Francisco. Why make sure a bouncer can see who this person is? We should be able to check and see if this person is a good person or a villain. And the technology's out there. And right now, Vegas has it, Miami has it. San Francisco should have it too. Why have people like come in without the technology behind them? The other thing too that is really important, and I see this happening a lot in San Francisco, is overpouring. Okay, Vegas does it best. There's a technology that actually can track how much the drinks are coming out. It's all robotic, and everything's processed through the technology. It stops the over drinking. It keeps people sober. The other thing too is the hydration. I know a lot of bars here are actually serving the water and everything like that, but in my club, we have hydration stations that are free. They're very clean, they're sanitized. It keeps people no longer how long they're there. There's water there for them to drink. I've seen some clubs here that absolutely do not do that. And I've seen people, some of these bigger venues, they're selling water, but there's no bartenders. They're off doing drugs and stuff. They should be required to have hydration stations throughout the property at all hours of the night. That's how we do it in Miami. That's how they do it in Vegas. And I think they should do it here. But the technology at the door, I think, is the most important. Checking people when they come in, make sure that they're not, either green or red. That's going to keep the problem from happening. So let's use the technology that San Francisco has to benefit the city.
So to that point, there's something, research has shown that venues that do use the ID card scanners at the door see a significant reduction in physical and sexual aggression because it triggers the Hawthorne effect. They know that they've been clocked, and it's not just somebody glancing at their ID. And that does have a positive impact, but obviously the privacy implications are there.
Thank you. Yeah, and this is where, again, right, when it comes to the programs and the support that the city wants to also provide, reporting and gathering data matters so that we can also, again, gather that data, show where an issue might, be rising, and advocate for resources in that space so that it's, again, partnership with the businesses, but also with the city. We have this gentleman in the green sweater that has had his...
So we have 3 minutes. Please continue the conversation with Sharp once we're done.
This is for Lieutenant Goff. If there was a situation, is it better to call the local police station or 911?
I would definitely call 911.
911,
That would be the best thing. That would be the best way to handle it, is call a 911 to get an immediate response so you can get so the dispatch can get the necessary information and dispatch the police, because the station will likely have you call 911. Yeah.
To that, just to add to that, are there any recommendations that you give on, like, when somebody calls 911 because they're not calling the police directly, they're calling the operator, on what keywords or what they can say in order to for the operator to get the true emergency nature of the call?
Yeah, I would think dispatch is going to ask you a series of questions. First of all, location, who you are, where you're at, things like that. And then they're going to get into the details. And the details need to be concise, clear, and not vague, if that makes sense, right? What you have, what's suspected, and maybe even a description of the victim and or suspect if possible. So, yeah.
Do you have a code number for that kind of job?
Sorry?
Do you have a police code number?
Like a call, that situation could be something where it's a 240 call, which is an assault. An aggravated assault would be dispatched as a 245. Often for something like this, it would be a suspicious person call. A 917 is what we would call it. But it all depends on what the dispatch takes and what information they believe merits that call for service.
We got one more. Oh, maybe should we go in the back? Just Does that work? Okay. So, all right. So yeah, sorry, folks. We wish we could do all your questions, but please continue the conversation with our.
Hi, I'm Katie. I own Kilowatt in San Francisco. And I have to say this. I had a situation like that happen at my spot a couple years ago when we first opened. I had video surveillance of this person putting something in this woman's drink. And basically, the woman reached out, the victim reached out the next day and said, hey, I'm sorry to be dramatic, but I only had one drink at your establishment. I was talking to this guy. Is there any way that you have security footage? You know, this is what happened to me, and told me her story. And I said, let me look. I scoured through it. Just so happened exactly where he was sitting. It was perfect. I saw it. I zoomed in. I saved the footage of, you could see him looking around, make sure she's not looking, no one's looking. You could see him putting something in the drink, and you could see it. Captured all of it. And I said to the victim, I said, got it. What do you want to do? Whatever you want to do, I'm here. Against my attorney, against everybody else's, they're like, don't do it. It could put your bar at risk, your business at risk. I'm like, I don't care. There's a woman that was hurt under my roof. I have evidence that could help her, and I'm going to do it. So I took a risk as a business owner, provided the footage. Not only that, the guy left his card at the bar. I had his first and last name, okay? I had his LinkedIn, I had his first and last name. I had footage of him putting this in this woman's drink. I asked the victim, what do you want to do about it? She says, will you go with me to the police station and just to support me? I go, absolutely. Save it to a thumb drive. Walk with her to the police station in the Mission. I let her tell her story. I'm just behind her with the evidence or whatever questions the officers have. Do you know what they said to us? How do you know he wasn't putting sugar in her drink? Did she get a toxicology report? How much did she have to drink? And that's really all I have to say. Is I just needed to say that out loud in this room. Is I did everything I could think of to support this person, and my heart was broken by the way it was handled. So if there is something else that I could have or should have done, please tell me right now what else I could have done.
Thank you so much, first of all, for doing all of that and for mentioning this. I super appreciate you, and I'm sure that so many in this space appreciate you. The one thing that I can say is that you can always, anybody here can always contact Sharp. We will help be a response. We will help be an advocate. We will help be a person in the room. And also when it comes to this, we have a direct relationship with the SVU unit so that this can go be a report that is directly also with the SVU unit. So you have now Sharp as an agency that you can rely on. Please, please contact us.
I do want to address that situation, and I apologize that that was your experience. I apologize to you and the victim, and I want to commend you for the efforts you made to go and do that. I know, like you said, against the guys of everybody else, you did what you felt was right, and that's what we're looking for with everybody. That response is not okay. I don't stand for that. I don't think anybody really stands for that. But I think a lot of that is a lack of education on our department, on our officers, and what we should do in that situation. Like I spoke to you guys about earlier, it's an underreported situation, but when you do have a smoking gun, if you will, in this case, that's something that should be investigated. And I don't know how long ago it was. I don't know if you have a case number. I heard you say maybe it was handled, but that's something that should be forwarded to the Special Victims Unit immediately and handled, and there should be an arrest warrant or at least an investigation going further, and that's not how that situation should have been handled. So yeah, once that initial report is done, it gets forwarded to the Special Victims Unit, and that's where you have actual investigators who are going to investigate that case. So that's what I'll say about that, but more to focus on you and your business. I commend you, and that victim now knows the support that they have from the Kilowatt, at least, you know, so that goes and speaks volumes about your establishment. So that's what I have to say about that.
Big round of applause for our panelists. Thank you so much. You can absolutely speak to them on the break. So we're going to take about a 6-minute break now, and we'll be back at 2:50 sharp to hear from Assemblymember Matt Haney. Hello, hello. All right, we're going to get started again. Okay. Without further ado, I would love to introduce our next speaker of the day. It is my distinct honor to welcome to the stage Assemblymember Matt Haney.
Thank you. All right. So I heard you all are the true believers that stayed all the way through the day. So give yourselves a round of applause for everything you've already been through today and learned today. It's an honor to be here with you all and to be able to, I guess, provide a little brief set of remarks before the next panel comes up. Let me just first say how exciting it is for me to see finally this city recognize and celebrate nightlife and entertainment. Roll out the red carpet, show love, show appreciation for the work that all of you do and the people that you represent and the people that you provide culture and community for. Because all of us, and I know there are a lot of nightlife OGs who are here, remember a time when this city saw nightlife and entertainment much more as a threat than an opportunity. Those of us who were here during the pandemic, I was on the Board of Supervisors at the time, there were many in the city who thought that it would have been fine for many of the most important established nightlife venues to die during that time. And now we're very much at a phase where not only do they not want you to die, they want you to save the city. So the city should start to act like it and support you to make sure you can actually do that. Because what you know, and this is not a new thing, it's always been the thing, there is no city of San Francisco without culture, without arts, without music, without dancing, without places where they can find people who are like them, where they can find their community, where they can celebrate. We don't come to San Francisco. We don't stay in San Francisco. Nobody builds businesses here. Nobody wants to come and live here and pay ridiculous fucking rents because we have nice office buildings. They do that because of what you all do, because of our culture, because not only do we have culture, but our culture leads the world. And it has for many, many decades been at the center of what not only shapes what people here experience, but what people all over the world experience. And we need to make sure, and finally, again, we have an entertainment commission, we have staff at the entertainment commission that recognizes and values that, and that wants to support folks to be able to thrive here. We know there's more to do, but again, there was a time when everybody had to look over their shoulder because there was nobody there to support them in the city. And now the city is looking to you, our mayor, our board of supervisors, our state leaders, to actually lead on the recovery. Because whatever our cities were before, not just in San Francisco, but in, all around the state, we're not 9 to 5 anymore. It's not a 9 to 5 thing. There's no 9 to 5 city anymore. That died during COVID. We cannot have a city that thrives, that only thinks of itself as 9 to 5. Our city has to be open after 6 p.m. It has to be popping and thriving after 6 p.m. and on the weekends and during the day and outdoors with festivals and music and people inside drinking, eating, in community. That is the only way our city is going to be healthy and thriving. And our policies also have to reflect that. And so if there's one message that I will share with you all that I hope that we can push ourselves on, we have always not only led here in San Francisco in what our culture and community and nightlife sector looks like, we've also led on policy. What we have here with our Entertainment Commission, a commission that not only provides for the regulation and the oversight and the safety and the health, but also the support of this industry, doesn't happen anywhere else in our state. This commission leads and is setting the model, demonstrating what's possible for every other place and for the city and the state as a whole. But we have to go further than that. We were also the first ones to do entertainment zones. Said, First in San Francisco, now everywhere in the state wants to do it. We have to continue to push the envelope on every level to demonstrate that relationship of what policy that supports culture and supports 24-hour cities truly looks like. And that is not going to come from me, the policymaker. It's actually going to come from you telling me what to do, telling us what to do. Because you heard earlier today about the work that we did to establish cannabis cafes, to say that people should be able to sit and have a croissant and have a coffee if they're going to consume cannabis, and it's ridiculous that that was prohibited in our state. Well, that came from Ben Blyman and his folks who said, Matt, you need to go and get this done. We also have now put forward a bill, AB 342, which will extend last call to 4 a.m. on weekends and long weekends. That bill needs to get done. It got stalled in a Senate committee, and now they're saying, well, why don't you just change it so it's San Francisco only? Okay. So when I change that bill to San Francisco only, I'm going to need all of you there pushing to get that done, because I'll bet you after that first year, there's going to be a dozen other cities, maybe the whole state, that want to do it too, because we're demonstrating that it can be done and that it should be done. We have another bill which is incredibly important. I want to invite you all to the press conference to help us make a push on this for all of our independent venues and our theaters and the folks who are struggling to maintain opportunities for live music and live events. Well, they're getting leached on and scammed by the secondary ticket market, which buys up all the tickets and then profits as speculators and scalpers, stealing money from the venues, their workers, and the artists. We got to put a stop to that. So we have a press conference at 10 a.m. On a bill that I have that would crack down on the secondary ticket market. If you're going to pay for a ticket, let those funds go to the venues, let them go to the people who work there, the people who built those businesses, and the artists who make that art possible. So we're going to be at 10 a.m. at the Castro Theater on Monday for a press conference saying, let's support live events and live music in our city. So we got to keep on pushing. We've come very far. Everyone now recognizes there's no recovery without nightlife, without arts, without entertainment, without music, without dancing, without all of you and the people who you employ and the people who you serve and the communities you create. And I'm so proud to be part of San Francisco's nightlife community that has led the way in our state and in the country, and we have a lot more to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Haney. And without further ado, I'm bringing up right now our second and final panel of the day. So panelists, come on up. And this is our moderator right here, Wild West. Welcome to the stage. Here comes the future, trends shaping SF nightlife.
How we doing, everybody? Yeah, I'm so excited to get to moderate this panel about the future of San Francisco nightlife. As mentioned earlier, my name is Wild West. I'm a full-time queer nightlife event producer. You may have saw me on my life-size Disco Bison at Dolores Park winning Hunky Jesus last year. Or you may have seen it at events like Downtown First Thursday, or you might catch me around on Folsom Street. That's typically my drinking hole. All right, y'all, I'm so excited to get to introduce our esteemed panel, and I'm gonna let them get to share with you all a little bit about who they are real quickly before we dive into our questions from the day.
Thank you. Great outfit. I'm Danny Bell, SVP of Golden Voice, Bay Area, and then I do Portola and Club Dark.
I'm BPAT CEO and co-founder at Nothing But Hits, and we're a full-service creative agency really trying to be the cultural conduit between the artists and entrepreneurs on the ground and all the corporations and institutions that would benefit from it.
I'm Katie Rose. I'm the owner and talent buyer of an independent venue called Kilowatt. I'm very happy to be here with all of you and all these heavy hitters on stage. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mary Condi with Another Planet Entertainment, and we are the largest independent concert promoter in the U.S. We are based here in Northern California. We do many venues in the Bay Area and the Outside Lands Festival.
And I am Colleen Booth. I am a managing partner and COO of 3 restaurants in San Francisco, True Laurel, Lazy Bear, and Juju.
Incredible. Friends, tell me something really quickly that has got you excited about San Francisco entertainment. What are you optimistic about currently?
I mean, everything. It's been awesome. The market feels really healthy right now. It's been really great. We just launched this new event series. I was talking about Club Dark, and it's 11 shows. They're pretty much all going to be sold out, and it's been a blast. So it's been good.
Yeah, I mean, piggybacking on that, I feel like, especially post-pandemic, like we're now finally in an upswing of just people really tired of being inside and like starting to work together more. So from the larger organizations to like the smaller grassroots, like everyone's starting to get really active. So just excited to see more of it.
Gonna piggyback back on that. Gen Zers are finally learning how to party. So that's good. Yeah, a lot of people that came of age during the pandemic and developing social skills and things that people in older generations have been doing and supporting nightlife for quite some time. I'm definitely starting to see the younger people come out. I know Great American had its best year last year. Kilowatt has its best year this year. Bottom of the Hill is having its best year this year. So yeah, things are turning. I'm incredibly optimistic about the upcoming generations and what's ahead for San Francisco nightlife.
All of that, I would second for sure. And I'm really invigorated by the success we had with Super Bowl weekend. And it was so cool that every corner of the city was activated, and there were big things and little things and free things, and it really felt celebratory, and it felt like San Francisco rose to the occasion, and it was great to be a part of.
Ditto to all of that. I think just the fact that we're having this conversation is a really big deal to me. I think during the pandemic, it did take us a long time to come back, and we focused a lot on social services, and all those things are absolutely necessary, but it's nice to know that the arts and entertainment is part of the conversation again, specifically in how the city can support us.
You know, most people have mentioned life in post-pandemic, and I think we've all saw how that really just had such an impact on our industry. Tell me what is something that our audience is valuing today that they didn't value nearly as much in a pre-pandemic world?
My candid answer is their Instagram followers. Is that what they're valuing? But I do think the aesthetic, I think a little bit to show that you are part of something, and part of the movement is something that's being highly valued. I think people want to share and be known that they are out and participating in something. I also think that, I don't know, I personally think that San Francisco fell out of love with itself for a little bit there. I've lived here since like 2006, and I think, yeah, late 18 and forward, we kind of fell out of love with ourselves. And I think it's been really nice that San Francisco is kind of taking that pride back of what it's like to live and be here and contribute to the city here.
I think we're seeing a lot more people that really want something experiential, and they want a little added value. We're having so much fun at the Castro Theater. We reopened in February and we had this Sam Smith residency for 20 shows. It was so incredible. But you know, we can show Grease and a few hundred people will buy tickets, but you turn it into a sing-along and a costume contest, and now it's really a night on the town. And I think people are enjoying those sort of things.
I have to agree. I'm loving this Valencia Street Art Fair. I think it's first Thursdays. There's a lot of these sort of outdoor street events that are happening right now for the arts, and I think that people were really thirsty for that because we just didn't have that for a couple of years during the pandemic. So it feels good to be able to bring the community together, and I can just tell it's important to everybody.
And last thing I would add on to that is like, I feel like we're at this point where people used to just go out because it was a bar and you'd pay the cover fee and that's it. Like that was the event. But now it's way more about experiences. It's like, are you going to the places where your people are? And I feel like that's just like people value that more. Like they don't just want to go out for the sake of going out. They need like a reason, and there needs to be more than just a little bit of alcohol and some music. That's kind of the baseline. So I feel like that's a new trend.
I'll agree with what Colleen was saying about people really love the city more now, but also really are embracing and loving the homegrown local properties that we have here. People have a lot of pride in it, and it's very special.
Absolutely, I would agree with all of that. Mary, I have a question specifically for you. Another Planet Entertainment sits in such an interesting place because you're simultaneously stewarding legacy spaces like the Castro Theater, you're carrying forward the legacy of Bill Graham, and also producing massive modern events like Outside Lands that bring in hundreds of thousands of people to our city. From your perspective, what do you think San Francisco needs most right now for entertainment, nightlife, and hospitality to thrive over the next decade?
That's so much. I think we're on a trajectory right now, and I feel like Mayor Lurie injected some energy and some investment into the city and in the nightlife realm and events. Like more is more, and I think all the free things that are happening downtown First Thursday and the night markets are incredible, and it gets you into the mode of like, let's go out and do something. And I think as long as everybody in the room, value and honor the fact that our patrons are spending time and money and energy to come to our shows and pay for parking and go out for drinks and go have dinner and buy a t-shirt and it's, a $500 night out, that's not nothing. People work hard for their money. So I think as long as we're looking at giving folks value and trying to be good stewards of this realm, then we'll continue to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is for the rest of the panel. What Mary had said is it's skewing a little of these trends that we're seeing. Does anyone else see a trend or behavior that you think is going to help shape what nightlife is going to look like over the next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think just something that's going to be really important for this, I'll say this new era of now, nightlife in San Francisco and really the Bay Area is just leaning more into our DNA that like we're such a melting pot. And so much of it should be like collaborating with different communities to cross-pollinate and thus making it bigger. Like one thing we talk about a lot in Nothing But Hits is like this idea of the campfire theory. So it's like, say, you're with your friends and your friends have friends and you get a nice little campfire going. They start getting warm. Like, you guys should, you do this thing and you do this thing, right? And you slowly kind of back away while they're doing their thing and you go keep on starting campfires all over. And so I think that's the thing of just like collaborate, work together, but just like it's good to work with other people.
I was going to say one thing we try to do at Kilowatt to keep people coming is always have a reason to be there. Just going out and having an alcoholic beverage is not reason enough for people anymore, which is good. It raises the bar. So always something going on. So I've noticed this like really fun crossover about different groups and lifestyles interacting. And at first I wasn't so sure how it was going to go, but it ends up being quite beautiful. So just as an example, we'll have a a rock and roll, like metal show happening from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., and then a queer goth night starting at 9:30. And you have this interesting mix over of crowds and different scenes, people that would maybe never run into each other at their normal outing. And you see them crossing over, and then I'll look on the dance floor, and there's like Hessian dudes dancing to this like goth music, and the people are hanging out, and I'm just seeing this beautiful mix of people. It turns out that people like each other if you give them a chance to cross paths. Everyone's in their own lane, and they like the music they like and the activities they like, but it turns out you make people bump into each other, and they kind of like it. So that's been a really awesome thing I'm enjoying right now in life, is just watching different crowds and groups of people interact, and it's been extremely rewarding.
What we do is at the heart of building community, right? So, I mean, that's what both of you were leading to. I think all of us, we have that in our hearts, right? About like, we're creating these spaces, we're doing the hard work to be able to build that community space. So this is my little moment for all of you. If nobody has thanked you for the hard work that it takes to be able to build those community spaces, I want you to hear from me, thank you. Because it takes all of us to be able to make these spaces. And what we're offering to people is an escape, right? The world is a difficult place right now, and we all need a little bit of opportunity to escape and come together and put aside our differences and have a drink and maybe dance a little to some Donna Summer, right? That never hurts. All right, so BPAT. Something that I love about Nothing But Hits is that it goes beyond just throwing events. It touches on music, fashion, branding, and culture more broadly, and is focused on pushing the culture forward. There's a line on your website that I love. It says, "True influence isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about being the one that's remembered." In a moment where culture moves so quickly, and attention spans are so short, what do you think makes something culturally lasting, and where do you see San Francisco continue to push the culture forward?
I mean, kind of piggybacking on myself, what I said earlier, it's like our brand. It's like this thing with, being not the loudest in the room. Like, you can make a bunch of noise, and especially now, getting to the AI talk, like, there is so much noise. Nobody is struggling for making content anymore, and everybody has a means to make an event. You could go on Eventbrite, Luma, there's so many now. But it's like the intentionality of it, like back to what we were talking about. Are you actually like curating the right environment for people to have a good time? So it's not just, again, is there music, are there drinks, but how were they invited to the event? Okay, like what's the cadence of the programming? Like there's such a deep level of intentionality that needs to be there. From like the minute they're invited to them getting ready to them leaving with their friends, like where it's a memorable night, like every single detail matters.
I recently read about the 30-minute rule for a party, that your event is summarized in 30 minutes. The first 10 minutes of their experience, how they purchased the ticket, how was their arrival process. There's 10 minutes that they'll remember during the event, and the last 10 minutes of it. So how that coat check process is, how was security treated them? Did they have anybody tell them, have a great evening on the way out, right? Like it's so much more than just offering alcohol and music, right? It all goes into the entirety of the experience. I'm sure most of us have been to a party at least once where coat check was a mess and it ruined our night, right? Like we know that it really is, it's more than just offering music and alcohol. All right, so for everyone, where do you think San Francisco has a real opportunity to lead as the entertainment city over the next few years? We keep hearing from our mayor, let's go San Francisco, and we are seeing that more and more of these music opportunities are popping up, right? And we are becoming a destination city, but what is still holding us back? What do we need in order to be the premier entertainment city in America?
Make it easier for the weirdos to live here. Not to get too heavy political, but cost of living. San Francisco is the lighthouse of the world for culture and city and art. We always have been. It is incredibly important that we have affordable housing and affordable areas for our artists to live, our artists to practice, to do their art, to rehearse. And this is definitely a bigger conversation for another time, but the first thing that came to my mind was cost of living, was that we were the city where we export artists. Art starts here and we export it to the world, and we tell the world what's cool, what's coming. And in order for us to keep that position in the world, we need to really think about our cost of living in the city and how we're going to keep San Francisco affordable for artists to not only thrive, but live. Yeah, that's my...
I agree. For me too, just the cost of actually producing events, it's about 50 to 100% more here than it is to produce a similar event in LA or San Diego or elsewhere. And, that just gets passed on to the fan and the consumer, because that's the way we make the margins work. So it's difficult to keep the ticket prices in line, being able to produce a show of quality. So yeah, there's definitely things that can be done there, but it's difficult, but that can be done. I mean, the other thing too is you got to think about it. We have a population of right around 850,000. I think, we way over-index and overperform for our population size. So 10x the people could make us that, but I love this concentrated pocket that we have here in Northern California. I think it's a really special thing, and it's the population size. I actually think, makes it more special that we have these types of events of people coming out in such numbers, because it's just that much more of a real community instead of a ton of people and only a small percentage are able to go to different events.
I think we also have to acknowledge, because we have such a small population, that a lot of folks from out of the area come in. And like a little nerd number is, I looked at all of the Sam Smith ticket sales data for the 20 shows at the Castro. We had people from 6 different countries and 49 of the 50 states travel in to see Sam Smith. And that means they got a hotel room, and they went out to dinner, and they went shopping. So I think we all need to stay in touch with our city leadership about, is the city clean and safe? So that last 10 minutes, how was your walk back to the hotel? How was your walk to your car? Did you feel safe? Was your car broken into? And I think San Francisco Police Department is doing a great job, and the crime rates are really lowering. There's a lot fewer car break-ins, et cetera. But we have to, acknowledge that there's effort going into that and support what they need to keep it going.
I agree with everything everyone said. Affordability is huge for our teams and for people who come visit. And I think Union Square is not pretty, and that's where all the hotels are. And the narrative around Union Square isn't pretty when it's published either. And public transportation is not great. So as an out-of-town guest, you're staying in a place that you don't necessarily feel great on how to walk to BART, and then BART only services one kind of line, and a whole half of the city is completely neglected, and you can't transfer between BART and Muni to go to Golden Gate Park and really explore the city that we have. So I think we have to look at boosting hotel occupancy, making that area safer, and really expanding and collaborating across our transportation systems.
I would agree with all of that. Colleen, since you have the mic, I have another question for you. So Juju feels very intentionally glamorous and playful and experimental at a time when much of our culture has gotten casual. Do you think people are craving an opportunity to romanticize going out again? And how do you create those moments that people will genuinely remember?
Well, I certainly hope so. We're 2 months in. So I always joke that I wanted people to wear pants again. And I personally don't like wearing pants on my days off. I mean, elastic waist, yes, but like not anything that's form-fitting. But I work with such talented people. I have over 160 employees. Many of work 14 to 18 hours a day. And if you can't put real pants when you come and dine, it is a little insulting to them. So we wanted to create a space that gave you the occasion to come and dress up. And dressing up is completely, it runs the gamut, right? I think all you people out there, we can make athleisure look good. It's a way, but we're just asking for a little bit of effort. And I think I'm a bit of a Luddite. I have never used DoorDash. I don't know how to order food seriously. Like, it stresses me out. I did it for my teen once and freaked out. So we felt that we had to create a space that made people want to come. So to start, we wanted to spike some curiosity. But I think to what so many of us have said is, we want to create memories. Give us a chance to help you create a memory. So with that, everything has to be unique and it has to be special, and it doesn't have to be overtly precious in any way either. And I think, as most of us will say, there's never one thing that any of us can do that will please every single person in this room. I'm not saying we're throwing a party or we're building a restaurant to make everyone happy. But if you choose to walk in those doors, give us a chance to make you happy. And that means you have letting go of your prejudice, letting go of your bad days, and just coming in and also rising to the occasion of, let's have a good time. And so that's what we tried to do from decor all the way through the experience.
I love that. It goes circle back to our big picture about like recreating the whole experience, right? So for everyone, what is something that is actually working really well right now that might surprise everyone?
I'll say I'm going to give Colleen some flowers here and get into something. I got to say, I live right by True Laurel. It's unbelievable. Lazy Bear was one of the most amazing food experiences I've ever had in my life. But like, the thing about it is there's a butter course. You eat dessert on a couch, because of course you should eat dessert on a couch. It's amazing. But the point is it's a high-end, expensive experience, but worth every penny, and something really special. And it's something I definitely, I have so many friends who I want to bring there. My wife went there with her parents for her birthday, and the point is what I'm seeing is working here, which is something we're lucky to be able to do, is if you really put effort in and create a high-end experience, there is the clientele that will be spending the money, that is, if it's worth it. And that's something that, we have here, especially with such a small population that we don't have in a lot of other cities. And, it's definitely something I'm trying to do on my end. It's like the ticket prices that we have to charge here are higher than same artists in other markets, but if the experience is good enough, we're able to get that here, and so that is something that is working.
I love that, but I also love the taco stand across the street from Lazy Bear. And I love that we have taco stands that are up all night long and even have little counters next to them now. And I think, like, when we talk about diversity, it has to be on income level, and it has to be on spend, and it has to be all those too. I mean, I walked out of a show I live in Oakland, so I walked out of a show at the Greek, and 100% I'm going to have a hot dog. That's just what you do at the end of every concert. And I was like, oh my God, $12? You want a $12 hot dog? But it's something you do, and it becomes like that moment. And I think that I agree. Like, one of my favorite things to do at Lazy Bear is we also have a Lazy Bear cannabis strain. And so when we identify game and another, we give it to them. And so oftentimes on their way out the door, we'll kind of slide them a pre-roll as a gift from us and then send them to the taco stand. And it's like, you're going to want the taco stand next. They make the best carnitas in town. And so I think it's also like, from every level, we have to support each other. I want you all to come, yes, to our 2 Michelin star restaurant, but I want you to also just come get a patty melt and a cocktail at True Laurel. And 100% stop by that taco stand, I swear. I don't even know the name of it. It's right on 19th and Mission, though, on the southwest corner.
Great. Mary, let's think about Outside Lands. Is there anything that's working at Outside Lands that maybe surprised you?
One thing about Outside Lands, we've never done the same festival 2 years in a row. Every single year, we come back and we retool and we gather all of the great brains that are helping us produce this event. And like, how can we make it better? How can we expand our offerings? So we add stages. We have little secret stages up in the forest. We added the Dolores stage. had the Mirrorball bison. Thank you very much. People like to have fun, and they like to explore, and they want to find new things. We also have this very luxe, it's called the Golden Gate Club, and it's designed by Ken Falk, and it's very fancy, and Tyler Flores comes and he makes lovely bites. And there's a market for that, and we want to cater to them. We want to give you that experience, but I also want the people coming into the GA tickets to have a great time too.
And Katie, talk to me about, as an independent, venue owner, what's something that's happening right now that it was surprising to you when you stepped into that role?
Oh, there's been a lot of surprises since I stepped into this role. I can say one of my favorite parts about my job is the diversity that we're able to have as an independent venue, as self-owned, operated, and all inside booking as well. So being able to have somebody like Billy Joe Armstrong play a secret show on our stage. The very next night, I've given a show to a band's first show ever. The kid's never played on a stage before. And I'll never forget that experience of watching this kid set up his drum set, and he goes, is it true that Billy was on the stage last night? I was like, yeah, you want to see some photos? And I thought he was going to cry. And it was one of the most beautiful, I was like, I love my job. I love that I get to give a stage and a platform from everybody to the biggest, hunk rock star on the planet to this kid's first show. And there's just something that only an independent stage can really bring that experience, because there's a bottom line and a dollar line for most bigger events, understandably so, but I'm in this very special position where I can offer a stage to a kid's first show, and cool enough to where big artists understand how important venues like Bottom of the Hill, Parkside, the Knockout, Kilowatt are, that they want to support that they go out of their way to play those stages because they see it's special that we have those opportunities. So yeah, that was one of, I wasn't sure what I was going to love most about this. I thought, oh, meeting all the musicians, that's not what I love most about this job. It's watching people's faces light up on stage and watching, being able to give a platform to all kinds of people.
My favorite part about throwing parties is watching the moments that happen. So at all of my events, I take a couple of minutes where I step back and I just watch all those little moments with people that are happening. And for me, the most rewarding part of my job is when people will come up to me and they'll say, oh, I met my partner at one of your parties, or now I met my now spouse at one of your parties. And the spaces that we're creating for people, it's more than just a watering hole, right? Like we're integral to the community, and we're integral to people's lives. And that for me was always the thing that was most surprising about the job. But Pat, you're pushing the culture forward. What's something that was surprising to you when you stepped into this role?
I also feel like a lot of things. I feel like the thing that was so surprising is really just like with the Bay Area in general is this question we always think is like, why is the Bay struggling, or was struggling? I'm saying we're on the uptick now, but was struggling with this thing as it being a cultural capital. It's like you have the LAs, you have the New Yorks, Miami, all these places, but here we have a plethora, like it's ridiculous how many artists we have here. Also, all the entrepreneurs are here. Everybody comes here to raise money, and also all the largest companies in about a 40-mile radius globally are here in the Bay Area. And so it's like we have all the pieces and more. Like, why isn't this more of a thriving area? And it's that we just don't have the connective tissue between them all. It's like everybody wants the exact same thing, and we kind of sit at this crux between artists and entrepreneurs, city government, and then VC and corporations. And as we talk to them, working with them all, everybody wants the exact same thing, but they all speak different languages and they talk past each other. And so that's really where a lot of our focus has been, is like, how do we become that conduit or that translator between them all to see that, oh, you guys are actually trying to do the same things, but we just need to frame it differently, because of course with larger corporations it needs to be framed a different way, because the ladder that needs to go through for it to get approved, there's just a lot of checks and balances. So it makes sense why it can't be like, oh, just for fun and art. Or a city government, they need this thing of like, we're thriving. And what thriving usually means? A lot of economic development, people spending money, people going outside, safety. Like, there's so many different pieces. And so all that to say was just like, it was kind of jarring to see, like, man, everybody, even in this room, I'm sure, all you guys came out here on, what's today, Wednesday? on a Wednesday, middle of the day, but obviously you care about this. And looking at the faces, there's so many different people, but we just need to do a better job of, like, again, the coordination as, like, an entire area. So I feel like that was the biggest surprise, as well as the opportunity.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, right? Like, I always feel like when I'll use working with Manny with the Civic Joy Fund as an example, right? Like, I got brought in to get to be a part of that, and when you get to partner with these organizations that have got this drive, right, to reinvigorate things. And I don't know, have y'all been to Downtown First Thursdays? Right, it's incredible. It's incredible to be able to see, like, the way that we've been able to activate, like, downtown and get so many people down, and it's a free event. That is just so inspiring to me, and I always get so, like, energized when I'm around other people that are, excuse my language, doing cool shit, right? You know, like, that is what drives me to do it more. I don't see somebody else doing something incredible. I don't see that as competition. I'm like, oh yeah, they're raising the bar. How can I not only, like, meet where they're at, how can I help them also raise their bar and raise my bar with them? But somebody who's raising the bar is Danny Bell. So, Danny, you have spoken about the name Portola was inspired by a street festival following the 1906 earthquake. The idea of San Francisco culturally rebuilding itself through gathering, music, and shared experiences can be found throughout our city's history. Coming out of the pandemic, when there was doubt about the future of nightlife and cities, what made you believe that that people were still hungry in that way? And now, a few years removed from that moment, what do you think make audiences say, yeah, that was worth leaving the house for?
Well, I mean, I know. Let's see. That's what I'll say is there was something even before the pandemic. There wasn't a home for the type of electronic music and left of center pop and other stuff that I like at a single festival designed for it, if you will. You know, we're all talking about environments, and it's very important. You know, in my opinion, it's like our job as a promoter is making sure you have the right act in the right environment for both the act to feel comfortable presenting the show the way they intended, and for the fans to enjoy the show in the right environment. And you know, during the pandemic, when you have a lot of time to think, and especially for us, our industries were shut down. Like, we had nothing to do. I had a great time with my wife, like, just hanging out. You know, I came out of it just with this big passion and fire to produce this specific event, and I hoped people would be into it. I thought people would, but this was more of, to be honest, it was a passion project and something that I really wanted to make personal to this city, and also, you know, a type of show that I've always wanted to put on. And you know, it was a big risk. It's really that simple. And you know, I think it's just what makes people want to leave the house or have a good night. It's the same thing. It's pairing the right artist with the right environment, and just creating a space where fans could just have a great time. You know, there's just one kind of feeling and concept that I always tell my team is what we're trying to create at these dance shows at Club Dark and Portola. And it's just a concept of, you know, you could be in a specific spot with your crew, and the artist is playing, the DJ's playing, and you're dancing, and you just have this feeling of euphoria. You're having such a blast that you just want this feeling and this moment to last forever. Just want to stay here forever. And so if you could create that feeling once or twice a night for people, that's what I think is what really, you know, makes it worthwhile for people. You get that?
Oh, totally. Okay. The moment that I did not want to end was Christina Aguilera at Portola last year. It was criminal that her set was 45 minutes. Her choice. She went. Let me tell you, every gay man in San Francisco was pissed. Yeah. All right, everyone. What is a shift that you're seeing on the ground that people aren't paying enough attention to yet?
Yeah, I feel like while there are the Christina Aguileras doing these big things and coming out to the Bay, there's actually a lot of like smaller collectives that are coming together. Like, yeah, clap to that. But yeah, there's like a lot of smaller collectives where they've just kind of got this thing of like, hey, we're not able to play the Outside Lands or Portola just yet. And they might have friends that are doing it, but they're like, we're actually just going to throw our own shows. We're going to go to Golden Gate Park. We're going to go on a stoop. Like, a Family and Out a Group, if you guys know of them, like, there's a ridiculous amount of people that are just like, F that, we're going to throw our own show. And of course, if they can get the right permits and all that, you know. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of the ask for forgiveness, but until it's like they do that enough times to get established, and now we've seen people where they were doing shows on the stoop to now selling out Great American Hall, and then now they're starting to go South by Southwest. Like, you're seeing just like the steps. People are like, I'm the driver, and so I feel like that's just a thing to pay attention to. Like, you don't gotta look at the big stars. We got plenty here.
I like that you said that. It's years ago, it was always a struggle to find, local DJs to open up for bigger acts who I liked and brought through. And now, just like you said, there's all these great crews doing really cool things. I mean, I spoke last night. I had like an hour-long phone call with Erica and Arthur from Program SF. I don't know if you've heard of them, but these kids are awesome. They're doing so many cool things. Like, I asked them to send me just links to all the local artists that they like. They're so cool. They took over a newsstand in the middle of Haight-Ashbury and turned it into a radio station. They just did that, and they were like, yeah, we didn't tell anyone we were going to do it. We just did it and then told our friends. But it's awesome. Just like you said, that wasn't something that I felt like was there years ago. And I think since COVID and all these new things coming back, you're right, that's there, and I can't wait for the rest of the world to see it. It's just going to put San Francisco on the map even more on a global scale.
Katie, I have a question for you. Taking over an independent venue with over 30 years of history behind it comes with a unique responsibility. It's not just ownership, it's stewardship. Independent venues like the Kilowatt have been the testing ground for new scenes, new artists, and new communities in San Francisco. As someone now helping to carry that legacy forward, what gives you optimism about the future of independent spaces, and why are they still so culturally relevant?
Thank you for that question. Taking ownership of Kilowatt with my two amazing partners is the honor of my lifetime. I'm grateful every day. And I feel the weight, and I feel the importance, and I feel the community needing us to exist. I feel that. Because we are the place where you can have your first show. We're also the place where you can see Wu-Tang do a 2-day residency, a 3-day residency. We're very eclectic. We sort of try to do it all. What the community needs, we try to fill it. So I think that's been the biggest honor of my life. What gives me optimism is the younger generations. And I know we have kind of the tendency to be like kids these days type stuff, and kind of get be a little gatekeepery as we get older in this industry, and we've been doing it so long. But one thing I've really learned is to sort of soften my heart and to soften my head about the younger generations. So my booking team that does the talent buying team at Kilowatt is like me, someone in their mid-30s, someone in their 20s, like basically giving Gen Z a seat at the table. A seat at the decision-making table is really important, and I think that gets lost sometimes with us old heads up here that have been just doing this stuff for so long. And the kids one day will catch up. It's like, no, you give them a seat at the table when you're making these decisions, and you're going to learn from them too. And I think humbling myself and seeing what happens when I let my kids That's definitely how I feel about my staff, but in like a very maternal mama bear way. You give them a seat at the table, you listen to what they have to say, and they're smart. They're smart. They're very smart. Let's give them a shot, you guys. So yeah, I've made it a point to sort of let those generations sit at the table and make these big decisions with me along my side, and I think Kilowatt would not be as successful if not for the staff members that sit beside me and teach me what's going on in their world. I don't know TikTok, I don't know all this stuff that goes on, but they sure do. And I'll never, just real quick, one time my Gen Z assistant, she's like, come outside with me really quick, bring your drink. You and Peter, my business partner. And we're like, what is she doing now? So we go outside with our drinks, and she's like, I need you guys to cheers in front of the Kilowatt sign. And so we look at each other, and we're just like, she's insane. So we're cheersing, and she goes, okay, thanks, and she runs away. I'm like, what was that? She's like, the clink sound is trending right now on TikTok. And I was like, I love you for knowing that, because I don't want to know that. So I think keeping the generational, keeping our ears open to all the different generations and listening to what the young people have to say, they're smart as hell, and I'm really excited about the future of the music scene.
I love that so much. My last question for the panel before we take questions from the audience is, if you could magically remove an obstacle facing entertainment and hospitality in San Francisco right now, what would it be?
Department.
Say that one more time.
The building department.
I mean, the permit process is getting better. And the fact that we're here in what we lovingly call the permit palace, that you can come here one-stop shopping, is making things easier, better. So I will give acknowledgement that things are getting better in the permit front, but it's a little challenging at times.
And do we get like one wish, or can we kind of encapsulate a few?
Give it a few. Come on.
Well, one, I feel like when we all talked about it's just like 50% discount on everything here in the Bay. Yeah. But then two, I think just more like support and programs for artists and entrepreneurs on the ground. Like I feel like that's one of the biggest things. It's like, yeah, some huge city funds for just that. And I'll think about my other one.
I'm not going to get specific because I will get in a lot of trouble. But what I will say is more of an understanding between, labor entities that we have to work with in order to make budgets and things work. Like, I think it's a bit silly that we have to spend an exorbitant amount of money simply to let an artist come in and do light programming overnight and other things like that. Is that just make the show better, but it just makes it makes the show worse, and it takes money out of the artist's pocket. It's because of these rules, and I'm not going to say more because I'm definitely going to get in trouble for saying that as is.
Okay, at this point, we'll take some questions from our audience. Yep, we have time for about 2 or 3. My friend that is right here in this beautiful green scarf.
Thanks. My name is Christina, aka MC Energy. And for the first time in entertainment and nightlife, there are more women in positions of, in positions of talent. I love that there are 3 women on this panel. We have the highest amount of women DJs pretty much in the country. Like, there are a lot of women in entertainment. And so my question to you guys, as this is a trend, and because we're not having kids, we're outside. What are you doing to cater to women in nightlife? What kind of spaces are you building? Are you even considering the fact that a lot of your patrons now are women? Women are buying the VIP booths. Women are paying for all these experiences. Women spend the most amount of money in travel and entertainment than anybody else in this country. So, A, what are you doing to cater to that new demographic that's coming that didn't exist before? And then B, how are you supporting women entertainers and getting them hired on your stages or in your restaurants? Or if you're a restaurant, this doesn't apply to you. You're okay, Colleen.
Say a lot of it is conscious booking, but just like you said, you know, I mean, you could just look at Coachella. It used to be it used to be rare. It took a while for women to be number one. Now, you know, I doubt there's gonna be more than one male headliner a year, if that, for a long time. It's just the way the culture's shifted in a wonderful way. But yeah, it's a lot of conscious booking and making sure that opportunities are presented. And then, just like you said, it's easier than ever, which is great.
Yeah, I would also say too, just like making sure that we're including women in the discussions that we're having. Like that's not like we're thinking of something like, okay, what do you guys think now that we've had our talk? Like as us as friends. We're friends if y'all didn't know. But for that too, yeah, but that's one thing. It's just like including everybody. Like you hear diversity so much, but like actually being about it. And then too, I mean, there's so many other events going on. Like even tomorrow, looking over at W Hotels, there's the What She Said event is coming tomorrow. So that's too literally all about women in entertainment and how to continue to uplift and include and like not just have them as a seat, but like us as a leader at the table.
I just want to say real quick on that note, my mentors, before buying Kilowatt, I worked for Bottom of the Hill for years, and for Parkside, both women owned and operated, I just want to say. Bottom of the Hill is owned by 3 women. I sort of say they raised me is how I feel in this space anyways. And the same thing with Parkside is owned by a woman. So also Lonnie at Ivy Room. Shit, we took over, huh? Yeah. Watch out. But I will say that's very, very specific and rare to the Bay Area is something I've noticed. Like a lot of these independent music spaces are women owned and operated. And because of that, we're all actually very close and we talk to each other. Outside promoters from other cities don't necessarily love that because it kind of ends their game. Because I'm like, how much did your event sell last time? Okay, let me just go ask her. Yeah, we're friends, So it's kind of hard to get one past us because we're all really tight in this community, and I do love seeing that happen. A lot more women in charge for sure.
I know I was exempt, but can I say something anyway? I think part of it's also making female inclusive spaces. Tampons should be in every single bathroom, period. Like both literally and figuratively. I think it's well past that time. I think even security checks going into a lot of these venues, I think there has to be more awareness. Most times women have to wait in separate lines because there's not enough female security guards for the pat downs. I think I host, and I think a lot of what Katie said is I host a women's leadership in every March at Lazy Bear. So it's completely free to women in the hospitality industry because it is our job to breed the next generation and to mentor them and to keep them inspired and to teach them and to help them fight the fights or hopefully not have to fight the fights that we had to get to where we are today. And at the same time, holding our male allies accountable to supporting them as well. I think those are like the 3 biggest things we have to do.
There is a gentleman in the black shirt. I saw your hand up.
Shout out to local artists. I am one. What do you look for new artists and collectives besides, supporting women in the collectives? But what do you look for besides like social proof, like clips online or follower count? What other things are you looking for from artists?
Heart, really. Passion, drive. I kind of look at that and I go, oh, these kids really want it. They're working really hard, and I think that should be rewarded. So I look for that. Respect, being good people goes a long way.
Yeah, actually, on that exact question, we started this series now about 4 years ago called Best in the Bay, and the whole purpose was to see different artists and just like vet them as well as like help train them so they're prepared for these larger just opportunities. And so kind of our rules, the 3 things we go off of is like 1, talent. Like you got to be incredible at what you do, like not just kind of good and you're having fun, like that's cool, but for what we're trying to do to put people in the right position, you got to stand on what you're doing. So talent's the baseline. But then the other side is professionalism. Like things like, are you responding to emails? Do you know the reply all button? But like just simple things like that. Even too, it's like when you have a show booking, like do you show up early? Do you actually go work the crowd in the room? Do you know who the sound man to the janitor to the talent booker? Like just being cordial. And then the final side is like you're kind of decorum. Like, are you an asshole to the doorman, but you're nice to who you think is the owner? Meanwhile, actually, the doorman might be the owner. And so that's one thing is like with Best in the Bay, we're always talking behind the scenes. Like it should be a holistic thing. Like for us, artist development, it's actually people development. These things do help just being a good person in general, working hard. So like it's this holistic view of what we look for.
I agree with everything you just said. The last thing I'll say is just drive, too. It's like, where is the platform? Are you going to take advantage of the platform you're given?
One more on that. Outside of again, there's like the kind of professional, your talent, and like all those things. But also for a social presence, I'll put that under professionalism. Like you don't have to have a lot of followers, but like if you have your aesthetic down and how you're approaching, like realizing you're not just a musician, you're a brand. Like that's really important. So it's like if we're pitching you to somebody, you might have maybe 500 to 2K followers, but your music's incredible, you have the look, like you're consistent. All those things make it that much easier to help you get more followers and put you in bigger positions.
I book a lot of talent for my events as well. And I think for me, one of the things I'm looking for is that your art that you're creating, that you're putting out, that it inspires people. It may not necessarily inspire me, but I need to see that it is inspiring other people, right? Whether it is inspiring people to get on a dance floor or it is inspiring people to be creative, that for me is like one of the biggest things that I'm looking for. And then also like when I bring people in, like I want to see going off of what you're saying, like how are they taking advantage of that opportunity, right? Like are they just showing up for a check? Or are they like really investing into what you are putting out? Are they invested into what your brand and the hard work that you put into it is? So I think that for me is the two biggest ones for sure. My gentleman in the Pepsi.
Hello, everybody. Well, turn this way. David Thomas. I work for Pepsi, as you guys can see. Gatorade, all those guys. Was part of this past Bay Area Super Bowl committee, so happy to be a part of that team and everything here. I'm a Bay Area native, so unfortunately, I know we're talking about Bay Area groups and brands and whatnot. I know I do not work for one, however, Bay Area native, and I told myself, hey, when I got this platform, I wanted to make sure that I'm able to support Bay Area-based groups, artists, entertainment, and whatnot, so that's just why I'm here today. So in short, my question I'm looking to ask for you all with the mics up here and later on in the networking events with you all here is like, hey, well, guys like myself, or people like myself who have the resources to support local-based Bay Area groups and entertainment, what are some things, or what are some of these ways with the resurgence that you guys are speaking about? I've worked with teams in LA, Miami, Beef, as you were saying, like, hey, these cities get everything, and I see it too. I'm like, hey, what kind of dollars can I get for my Bay Area guys? We got a lot of things going on here. I see it, I'm from here. So in short, my question, what are some ways that you guys are looking for folks in the brand space to help better support your Bay Area businesses?
Money?
Yep. Yep.
Surprise, of course. I definitely knew that part, but yeah, what are some ways? Of course.
I said, bro, we'll do the rest. Like we know how to brand ourselves. We need, speaking, I guess, for the independent venue up here, we need money is what it is.
I would say too, like outside of just the money, like allow us as the artists to be able to be the creative directors. A lot of times working with these larger brands, as we have, it's like they're like, okay, we're bringing you in to do this series, this campaign. And then, okay, nice idea, we'll go back to our team. They completely change it, and then it flops, and they wonder why. Just add a touch where it's like, let the artist do the thing and give them the right budget to execute at the level they want, and don't shortchange.
Thank you. Thank
I
you
can
so much.
paraphrase
Thank
that.
you so much for that. Yeah, I think that we are officially wrapped up on our time. You all, thank you so much for attending our panel. Give it up for our wonderful panelists.
Yeah.
Thank you all. And I know that you all probably still have questions for the panelists. We are going to scoot them off stage quickly so they can take a photograph outside at the step and repeat. And then after that, I'm sure you can grab their ear. So I just want to close out today and just first of all, I want to thank our ASL interpreters who were here with us all day. Thank you. You know you've made it when you have ASL interpreters at your event, I suppose. This is amazing. And thank you again to all of our speakers and panelists today. It was incredible hearing from all of them. And another huge thank you to Entertainment Commission staff for all of your work. On your way out today, go ahead and grab a health and safety toolkit when you're leaving. They're on your left when you exit. And see you at happy hour at Gambit in Hayes Valley. We're closing in honor of Mark Rennie and Terrence Allen today, two huge champions of nightlife in San Francisco. So big applause to these two guys.